Greetings, Principles of Marketing people. Dr. Williams back for the Packback Leaderboard, week 10 of 13. We're almost through. Can you believe it? I know you're heartbroken. Try to keep it together for another couple of weeks. You'll notice that I got some new dry erase board markers and an eraser. So I'm upgrading the situation here from my basement lair. So here's our top 5 for the first section. Logan, Carlos, Diana, David, and Kelsey. And here's our top 5 from the second section. Again, based on average points. Melanie, Hunter, Rosie, Thomas, and Janelle. And you know the way I like to do it. Let's look at overall, not just by class. Let's see how we did. And I'm going to write in one of my new green markers. Isn't that exciting? Oh, I know it is. Thomas Stevens comes in at number 5. Here he is in the second class. Number 4, who might it be? Rosie Solisis. And she tells me that that is correct. She is also in the second class, so they're already up 2-0 over the first class. Now, in our medal round, who came in with the bronze at number 3? Hunter Collins. Hunter came in with the style versus reliability post, which was very interesting. He used, I believe, he compared Toyota and Fiat Chrysler, I believe, was the two. Mentioned the muscle car, the Dodge Charger. So I'd love to have about a 72 version of one of those. And which would I be more interested in, style or reliability? Or which would you? He asked the open question. And I think part of that decision process would be, are you just looking for a fun car to drive around on the weekends? Or are you looking for something to drive to work every day? So how you were going to use it. And then how much disposable income you had. Do you have income so that, I would love to have a Triumph TR6 or an MG just to fool around with. I actually do have a Jeep Wrangler that I just fool around with. I keep the top off. And like today it's raining, so couldn't drive around in it. But I don't use it if it's too hot or too cold or it's not just right. So I think it all depends on, I think part of that purchase decision would be if, you've got 3 kids and a girlfriend or a wife, I don't know that you'd buy an Austin Healey 2-seater. But if you were single and you had another car or you just took it out on the weekends, you might have one. So that was a good question, and I enjoyed it and the responses. Number 2. Let me check off Hunter. That's 3-0. Number 2, Miss Bagley. And she broached the topic of the wizarding world of Harry Potter and how much time they spend in creating that experience for people. And the reason that they don't stage the wizarding world of Harry Potter in your local Food Depot parking lot like they do, the low-budget carnivals in some towns, is because you pay a lot of money to participate in that. And it means a lot to people, so they're willing to pay that money. And if they're willing to pay that money, they want it right from top to bottom. Right? So if you spend that much money on something and you think they really didn't give it 100%, are you going to return? Are you going to spread positive word of mouth or negative word of mouth? No. And when you have a ton of sunk costs into an adventure, before you even open the doors, you want to make sure that it, unlike Quibi, that it lasts, more than a season or a few weeks in Quibi's case. And number one, let's see where Melanie is first. Golly, we're 4 out of 5 in the people that register for the second section of this course. Isn't that something? I don't believe that's ever happened before. Let's see if we can get 5 out of 5. No, we cannot. Logan Hefner. Now, I'm not sure, but this might be Logan's first trip onto the leaderboard, but I'm not sure. And he came in first in the first section of class, and he wins overall on the leaderboard for this week with a question about packaging and labeling, and is it important to people? Very good, Logan. I'm going to give you a star because you incorporated some course material into your question. Well done, my friend. And I would say the more involved you are in a purchase, and we've all learned involvement in a purchase goes up, the more expensive it is, the more high tech it is, the more complicated it is, the more risk there is in it, because it costs a lot or something you really want to work the way you want it to work. Packaging and labeling, especially labeling, would be important. If you buy a car at CarMax, which I've done several times, having a family member who has wrecked several, when you buy the car, they give you a website to go to order your owner's manual. Now, I bet if I bought a brand new Lexus that they wouldn't have me do that, right? But it's fine if I'm down at CarMax because I kind of expect that, right? So packaging and labeling, if I haven't used something before and I want to know how it should be used, I want some labeling. And if the packaging is an annoyance, I'm going to remember that next time I buy something, right? But typically, the more expensive it is, or the higher involvement it is, you get more of those items. And that does, you can get whole degrees in that, packaging and labeling. In engineering schools, they offer those courses, and even majors. So, for week 10 out of 13, we got Logan, Melanie, Hunter, Rosie, Thomas. Overall, and that's 4 of them out of the second section. So the next chapter we're covering is chapter 9. The first part of that's already up. Second part will be up shortly. And I look forward to this week's discussion posts. So with that said, be nice out there. It doesn't hurt. And it's good. You'll feel good about it. And I'll see you on the internet.